Hey, what's up, everyone? It's the Lemesis, your nemesis, but you can call me Lem. And welcome to Just Another Cheesehead podcast. And today's podcast is titled "I May Be Wrong." I might be wrong. I might, I might actually be very, very wrong, and that's a pleasant surprise. And I actually don't have any qualms about it. Like I said from the very beginning, I don't have an issue with calling out my own self and being honest with not just myself, but being honest with all of you that are out there. I put myself out on display. That's just what happens, right? But we're not all the way quite there yet. I'm not all the way there, but I'm like 70 to 80% there. But I don't want my fandom to get in the way of reality and rationale. So all I'm not gonna lie to you guys that this episode, this podcast, I'm at a loss for words. I'm gonna try my best. I know I say that, and I think I'll still give you a great episode, but I'm definitely at a loss for words after this Sunday. Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers looked absolutely incredible. I will say I wasn't wrong about Joe Barry. He was definitely not the problem. I think we as fans, I still believed, to go back on what I said before, I believe Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst were the problem, but I may be wrong about them also, which is crazy to say because if this works out like what I think that I'm seeing, I might have to take back all of the trash I talked about Matt LaFleur, all the trash that I talked about Brian Gutekunst, and all the trash that I talked about Jordan Love. And, I didn't really talk too much trash about Joe Barry, but you might as well lump him in there as well. So, from what we're seeing on display, all right, let's first preface this, okay, guys? Let's preface this. It was the Dallas Cowboys, okay? The Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? The Dallas Cowboys. That's who we're talking about here. I need that to resonate with you. I need you to understand that Dallas does this all the time. They are known for pooping the bed. They are known for hyping it up, for celebrating a championship that has never come. Ever since, I'm a firm believer that Jerry Jones probably will never see another championship in his life. I feel like the irony is going to be, unfortunately, one day he'll probably pass away, and then that's when the Dallas Cowboys will win a championship. Because to me, it feels like he gets in the way, and it's unfortunate. I would love for him to be able to get a championship before he passes away because I feel bad for the guy. But, you guys know his history, what he did. He fired Jimmy Johnson after winning 2 championships. For whatever reason, right? We don't know what was going on, but that's what happened. He got rid of Jimmy Johnson. And when you go back and you watch other podcasts and you hear interviews of the players who played the game played for the Dallas Cowboys, you hear that, like, man, I think we would have won more championships if that didn't happen. So it's quite interesting. It's a very interesting story. But it's Dallas, and it's what they've done ever since they won their 3 in a span of 3 to 4 years. They haven't done anything, and they've lost terribly time and time and time again. And this is the exact reason why I said earlier and throughout the season that, like, I don't believe in Dak Prescott. Like, when Dak Prescott is your number 1 quarterback and he's performing at an all-time level, I would be concerned for your league. So part of me is like concerned for the NFL because I think the product that they're putting out on the field stinks. I don't think we're going to look at it, and maybe we should go look at it now. Maybe we should pull it up now. Let's look at, like, your top teams in the NFC and AFC. And I just find this, like, kind of crazy. The teams that are alive, let's look at the quarterbacks that are left for the final 8 teams. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. You have Brock Purdy. Now, again, he's a young guy, and I might be saying this now because these guys haven't made a name for themselves yet. So there's a chance that when we look back on this, when I look back on this podcast, when I look back on this episode, we can say, oh, well, these guys were no-namers and look at their names now. But if that's the case, okay, great. Then the NFL's in good hands. But as of right now, the 49ers have Brock Purdy. The Lions have Jared Goff. The Buccaneers have Baker Mayfield. And the Green Bay Packers have Jordan Love. Now, if Jordan Love continues to play the way he's playing, my goodness. Same thing for Matt LaFleur. If he keeps calling plays the way he's calling, and he can get Aaron Jones to run the ball the way he was running the ball on was it Sunday? I mean, my goodness. But like the name Brock Purdy and Baker Mayfield and the rookie names of Jordan Love don't really speak to me. And then you get CJ Stroud, which I have a lot of respect for. I think the kid is proven. Patrick Mahomes, I think he's the best in the league, besides Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers is on his way out. But Patrick Mahomes is going to be his league. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. So again, you guys all know, I don't think highly of both of those quarterbacks. I don't think Josh Allen is all that. I don't think Lamar Jackson is all that either. I think that the NFL likes to hype these fools up, and they talk about all these stats that these dudes never done X, Y, and Z. But I think when it all, like I said this before on previous podcasts, if you took every great QB that ever played the game, or just every QB that ever played the game, and you made them all 20 years old, and you had them all play at the same time, I think some of these guys who are playing right now would be sitting on the bench. You get my drift? That, watching, man, there's so many things I want to talk about now that I think about it. Because, like, taking that point and that reference, just imagine how great of a era we just watched. The era where we had Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers and Phillip Rivers and Matt Ryan and Tom Brady and Drew Brees, and all these jiggers were playing at the same time. And Tom Brady dominated that entire era. And if any of those guys just got drafted or just got pivoted by a good 10 years or so, this would be their league. This would be their time. If Aaron Rodgers didn't play when Brady played, how many rings would he have? If, because you might say, well, he didn't make it to the Super Bowl as often. It's not like he lost to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. My point is that I think he would have had a lot more opportunities if he didn't play during this era where we had so many great QBs. I just feel like Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Phillip Rivers probably would have got a ring or two. A lot of these guys would have gone to multiple championships. You got to remember the domino effect, right? Because maybe Aaron Rodgers doesn't get drafted and play for the Green Bay Packers. Maybe he plays for another team. Maybe he has a great organization, an even better organization that is running things behind the scenes, etc. So it's just so many of these players. But my whole point that I'm getting to now is just the QB situation doesn't look all that great. And I'm a little concerned. But maybe we're in that period of time where this is where they make the name for themselves. And that's interesting because we went through that period of time not too long ago, right? When Brady was around, when Manning was around, when Brees was around. I mean, that was the consensus. And it's hard to kind of go back to that time when we didn't think they were jack diddly squat. I mean, Brady kind of came out the woodworks and was instant, right? As soon as he took over, he started to win. I didn't like the guy, but he started to win. Brees, he was over in playing for the Chargers, and then he had to get sent over to the Saints, and then he started turning things around. Aaron, he had his first year. They were 6-10. I went and saw him play against Peyton Manning. That was the one of the few games we won. And then the very next year, boom, him and Kurt Warner in the playoffs. Amazing game. He ended up losing, and then the year after that, he wins the Super Bowl. Brees eventually wins his championship, but he started turning things around as soon as he came over to New Orleans. And then you had Ben Roethlisberger and Eli Manning. Those guys are lesser QBs, but they had teams that won championships around them. So maybe that's what we're seeing right now. But, I mean, I can't say much for Jared Goff, and I can't say much for Baker Mayfield. But C.J. Stroud, yes. Patrick Mahomes, yes. Dare I say Brock Purdy and Jordan Love? Maybe, right? I don't know how much. To me, the 49ers, I feel like that's more defense than their offense. But, I mean, before like a few weeks ago, I had Brock Purdy as my MVP. But, again, that's not saying much. But I want to get to the Green Bay Packers. I want to get to this game, and it's insane. Like here's what it's the Dallas Cowboys. And I said this to a buddy of mine. He was texting me. We were going a little bit back and forth, and I said to him, I said, "Hey, if we beat the Cowboys," this was like right when it was probably like 14-0 or maybe 7-0 is when I texted him this. I said, if we could beat the Cowboys convincingly and Jordan Love looks good, and then we can beat the 49ers convincingly and Jordan Love looks good, then I'm a believer. And then I said, if we can beat the Cowboys and Jordan Love looks good, but we lose to the 49ers and Jordan Love still looks good, then maybe I'm wrong about Jordan Love. Because playoff football is different. But if he comes out there and he looks atrocious and he gets the brakes beat off of him, then I'm pretty much where I started when it comes to Jordan Love. So far from what I'm seeing, it looks like Matt LaFleur had a game plan that's out of this world. But again, I got to see this happen against a team that we can all rely on, people. Like, it's just so hard to go all the way there. I want to go where you are, right? I want to sit there and say, this is our year. Let's go, guys. Come on, Lem, what are you talking about? Get on the bandwagon. Get hyped. I just can't get there with you guys. Not 100% of the way. I'm more than 50% of the way there. But I'm not 100% of the way because that's Dak Prescott. Mike McCarthy's, he went over to Jerry Jones. And what do you guys all know? This is what Jerry Jones does. He fired Jimmy Johnson. We talked about that earlier. Who fires a winning head coach? The guy who doesn't like winning and he just wants to control everything. He wants to control everything more than he wants to win. And he wants to win while controlling everything, and he doesn't realize that he can't do both. He can't be the GM, he can't be the head coach, and he can't control everything and also win. Sometimes when you have a lot of money, it clouds your judgment, kind of like alcohol, I bet. I've just never had a lot of money like that to even come close to understand what that's like. And to be honest with you, I would never really want that kind of money to cloud my judgment. I know I would do a lot of good with that kind of money, but man, it seems like the amount Jerry Jones has clouds his judgment. And, he has different dreams and aspirations that I feel like most people don't have. And that's okay. It's his life. It's his money. It's his time on earth. But when you see the Cowboys collapse the way they collapse, I mean, think about it, guys. The Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love. Do you understand how many points per game the Green Bay Packers averaged this season? And hold on, I got to put Packers before I pull up some Lakers nonsense. Do you understand we averaged like 22 points a game in the regular season? And we put up 48. Now, two of those, at least one of those touchdowns was a pick six. But to still put up 30-plus points is outrageous. And we put up 30-plus points on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, their defense is not bad, right? We're not going to sit here in front. The defense is decent. Let me see where the defense is. I mean, the defense is top 5. Their overall top 5 defense, but again, it's the Dallas Cowboys. Now we're going to face the number 2 defense in the entire NFL in the San Francisco 49ers. And then, let's not even front, even if somehow we make it out of that game, which I don't think, I'm just going to be real honest with you guys, I don't think we're beating the San Francisco 49ers. I just don't think that's going to happen. If we beat the 49ers, it has to be because of turnovers. It has to be because we get to Brock Purdy, we hit him early, we hit him often, and then we help stop the run So if we, I mean, it's like the game plan for every freaking game, right? It's really simple. Stop the run, hit the quarterback. If you can do those two things, you win the game. And is Brock Purdy somebody I'm afraid of? No, not by any means. But that defense and their special teams are something that's forced to be reckoned with, and I am afraid of them. The 49ers have made the great Aaron Rodgers look pedestrian so many times, and it's just hard for me to believe that somehow Jordan Love, who's lesser of a quarterback, is going to go into San Francisco and perform better than Aaron Rodgers. And this defense looks better than ever. Maybe they're not as good, but they're pretty darn good. This year, they're not the number one defense, so I guess they're technically less than. But, I mean, this defense is ferocious. They picked up Chase Young. This is like this team, this is the time to win is now. Now, I did think San Francisco was good enough to go undefeated. They had some weird losses along the way because this is a weird year. But, man, this game is scary to me. This is a very, very scary game. And I'd love to see what Nick Bosa explains the difference between Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers. I would assume that, like, Jordan Love has nothing to lose. And I will say this, the one thing I can definitely see with this team is that Green Bay is young, so it's really hard to game plan for the guy who's not your star. What ends up happening in the NFL a lot of times is the stars will stand out, and then the stars have tendencies and the stars have patterns. One thing Green Bay has is they don't really have patterns or tendencies besides when it comes to the running game, right? When, last week not last week, a few days ago when you watched the Green Bay Packers run all over the Dallas Cowboys, that was predominantly Aaron Jones running all over them. But on the passing side of the ball, Jordan Love was passing to everybody. Everybody got into the mix. I mean, we have like 4 or 5 wide receivers that seem to be able to get open, and then by the time you turn around and you forget about them 4 wide receivers, you've forgotten about Musgrave, and this jigga's wide open. He's down the field, and he's busting it wide open and hurdling over folks. So it seems like these guys are just young and talented, and that might be where Brian Gutekunst might have done a great job in drafting these young, talented guys. I will call them young and talented after they beat the 49ers, but they look young and talented, and they have no fear. How can you fear what you've never, it's almost like they've never experienced it. So it's like you're telling them to be afraid of something that they've never been beaten, so to speak, right? Or if they've been beaten, they were beaten during the regular season, and they're like, losing's not bad. And playing a game where it's one and done, we've never really done that before, so what are we afraid about? And sometimes when you play against people like that, who in a sense have nothing to lose, you're in danger because they're coming in free and loose and young, and maybe that might be what this youth has on their side. These young guys might have that on their side. Now, I will say this doesn't look good for the future, because for the future, we're going to get the same old, same old. We're going to get Brian Gutekunst being cheap, and he's going to be wanting to pay some of our stars not so much, and then we're going to lose the cohesiveness. We won't have as many talented players. We saw what he just did to our corner, where he sent him off over to the Buffalo Bills. So I don't know. I mean, that's speaking about the future, so it's great if we can win right now. But I just don't I want to see what we do with the 49ers. I think 100% win or lose, whether we win the NFC Championship game or not, if we can even win against the 49ers. If Jordan Love looks good against the 49ers, like he just did last week or this just Sunday, I think it's safe to say I'm a believer. I still want to see a second year. I do think a second year matters, because when teams can now game plan for you because they see you have tendencies, Can they push you to fall back on bad habits that you have portrayed in multiple games? I mean, let's not forget that the first half of this year, Jordan Love looked terrible. He did not look like he was the truth. He did not look like the future. And the second half of the year, he had some bumps, but not many bumps. And he had a lot of moments where he played well. My thing was I just didn't think he was going to be consistent. And in this Dallas game, Jordan Love did what I saw Aaron Rodgers do, which was hit me with the wow plays. There were some wow plays that was just like, wow, like, oh my goodness. Now, he was front running, and that's what Aaron Rodgers loves to do too. He loves the front run. But, I mean, most quarterbacks don't do well when you get hit in the mouth anyway. So, I mean, I don't think this kid will ever be Aaron Rodgers. He could be better. He could be worse. I just like the makeup of the team so far from what I'm seeing. But again, I just want to say I hold the right to retract everything that I'm saying because it was the Dallas Cowboys. I really want to get that out in the air. It's the Dallas Cowboys, and they always do this. And maybe we weren't that good, right? Maybe we were still good enough to beat them, but maybe not 48 points. Because Dak Prescott threw 2 picks, and you knew he was going to do that. I even said it to my wife right when we first scored, and you saw Matt LaFleur going for it on 4th down, and I was like, man, I feel like Dak's going to mess this game up. I said, I feel like this is a Dak game where he's just going to, like, throw picks and just be willy-nilly and stupid, and it's over. And that's exactly what happened. And the moment I saw 21-0, I just knew Dallas is collapsing, and there's nothing they can do about it. They just admitted defeat. And then when you saw CeeDee Lamb on the sidelines getting talked to like he was a child, and he was accepting it. Whatever was being said to him, he was just kind of, yes, sir. Yes, master. He was just accepting it. We owned him. At that point, it was like, oh, we own these guys. There's nothing they can do about it. Absolutely nothing. So, man. What a game. Absolute amazing game. I question the quarterbacks. Again, this might be that year where, 5-10 years from now, we're talking about these guys. Maybe we are talking about Jordan Love, and we're talking about Brock Purdy, and these become the box office guys, and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, we already know Patrick Mahomes is legit, and you know how I feel about C.J. Stroud. But maybe we are talking about these guys, and they got a couple rings at that point, and we're just seeing the beginning of a new era. And sometimes change is hard. I hate that sometimes. So, let's see what Bosa has to say here. We're kind of reading this together, and I want to go over this. But he said, "Love is a quarterback who does exactly what he's coached to do." Bosa said, "Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer and unbelievable, but he kind of went outside of the realm of coaching, and sometimes it's good when you have a guy who does what he's coached to do." Interesting. And as how to defend a player like that, Bosa has an idea. Love is really good at going through his reads and playing the offense to a T, Bosa said. "We definitely need to stop the run. We don't think many teams have made him uncomfortable yet." I agree. So stopping the run and covering up those easy open guys is something we have to do. This is scary, right? I mean, to think that he's kind of complimenting Jordan Love, kind of dogging Aaron Rodgers, it kind of tells you that, like, if he's just a system guy, he can be had, right? Aaron Rodgers can go off script, and that's what makes him great. But Jordan Love can only stay on script, right? The Cowboys certainly did not make Love uncomfortable at all last weekend. The quarterback completing 16 of 21 passes for 272 yards and 3 touchdowns. Dallas pressured him just once Sunday, despite employing one of the best pass rushes in the NFL, but we don't know about that, right? Because it's the Dallas Cowboys. We can't say that. Not being able to stop the run at all didn't help them. Aaron Jones rushed 21 times for 118 yards. And we've seen Aaron Jones get rocked against the 49ers. That's not a thing, right? I mean, that he doesn't run the ball against the 49ers, if at all. well. And Love went 6 for 8 for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns on play action passes. The Niners will need to do a better job of keeping Jones from ripping off chunk gains and getting pressure on Love in the pocket to force him into mistakes. So, yeah, to me, this is going to come down to coaching, right? I want to see if Matt LaFleur is as good as he says he is. That's why I titled this podcast, I May Be Wrong. If Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst knows what they're doing, I think we win this weekend. I expect a good performance, period. Because they've proven enough to me to at least sway me much closer in the direction of believing that I'm wrong. So now it's like you got to put the cherry on the cake for me. So I'm getting hyped up and I'm getting excited because one thing I was saying to my wife this weekend was like, man, what happens if we go on a run and we win the Super Bowl, or we at least go to the Super Bowl? Did I even enjoy this season? And a part of me would say 100% I did not. I went through this season very bitter and angry at the fact that we got rid of Aaron Rodgers, and I would have missed the opportunity of watching his replacement shine. And I think that's fair, whether he, win or lose. But it would be unfortunate if somehow Jordan Love is the next coming and he is an elite franchise quarterback. I still kind of steer towards the he can only really be as good as a Donovan McNabb. And Donovan McNabb has some amazing games. But, if he plays like this consistently, then we're talking about, Aaron Rodgers category. Like this looked good. This looked really, really good. I mean, Aaron Rodgers always looked good when he wasn't getting hit. I mean, he even threw some passes on the run. He did plant his feet when he ran out, planted, he threw. And I kind of want to look at some of these plays as well because I just think Jordan Love is that guy. I think it's important to check this out. So if you're watching right now, I'm going to play this. I'm going to try to play this and chop it up, but look at that. He's got pressure in his face, and what a pass. I mean, granted, this guy was wide open, Romeo Doubs. It's just crazy to me how wide open some of these guys were. It almost feels like because there is not one star, and look, he's got pressure in his face. He sees a guy coming. He takes the hit. He falls back on his butt. He makes the throw. But, like, what I think about this offense that I think that's going to help Jordan Love is that there's not one guy. They're all relatively decently talented, and he can get the ball spread out to all of them. It reminds me of when Aaron Rodgers had that cast, when it was James Jones and Greg Jennings and Jordy Nelson and Jermichael Finley and Donald Driver, right? There was not just one star. And then when Aaron Rodgers had Devontae Adams, he misses, Alan Lazard wide open against the 49ers because Devontae was the only one really doing anything. He didn't have that kind of squad. So you see Brian Gutekunst is, I guess, trying to duplicate what he did before with Aaron Rodgers, but he's doing it with Jordan Love. The problem that I have is that he's trying to get these guys to win on rookie contracts, but then what's going to happen is dudes aren't going to want, if that works, that's a huge if. If that works, then the guys won't get paid. We want to keep winning. And we can't wait once every 20 years to get a squad ready just to win. So from that perspective, he would look right. But the last time we won, it's 2024. The last time we won a championship was in 2010. So you want us to sit here and wait, 20 years, 10 years, 14 years? That's insane. In between winning championships and then literally maybe we win one championship, maybe make it to a second championship, and then what? You pay one guy, you pay Jordan Love because, Jordan Love ends up being the franchise quarterback we want. Then we just have Aaron Rodgers part 2. Or, Brett Favre, people start calling him a diva, being upset at him. Again, it goes back to the front office again. I think we run into the same issue. But, again, we're putting the cart before the horse because Jordan Love and them haven't really done anything yet. They just beat the Dallas Cowboys. But let's keep watching these highlights because it's incredible. Right? I mean, absolutely incredible. And take these captions off. I mean, he's on the run, and this guy is just wide open. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Why is number 80 not retired? Jordan Love moves to his right, throws a dart, and Dobbs just wide open again. Just, again, absolutely incredible. And let's kind of, if we can speed this up, that would be great. Let's get this 1.5 speed. Just incredible. And then look at this. Just boom. I mean, you know, it's 14-0. It's Dallas. He's on the run. And, I mean, he hit him right in the chest. I wanted to see this. Play action pass, run into his left. He catches the ball. That looked good. Steps back, and he's zipping the ball like Aaron. He's throwing the ball like Aaron. I mean, are we going to sit here and not give Aaron Rodgers credit? I mean, clearly Aaron Rodgers taught this kid something. He taught him something. Right? He's throwing the ball like Aaron. He looks relaxed. I mean, he's in Dallas. I mean, I know there was a stat. I'm pretty sure Dallas didn't lose a game. Look at that pass, bro. I mean, stop it. Dallas didn't lose a game at home. I'm pretty sure. I mean, hopefully y'all check me on that right in the comments. But Dallas didn't lose a game at home. Jordan Love is him. Everybody was getting involved. Dobbs, Wicks, Musgrave, Reed. Everybody was catching the ball, man. And he's confident. Just look at this. Jordan Love, step back. Pressure. Now, you know, Dobbs had to come back for that pass, and he did. But still, he got the ball out. And Jordan Love, he just looks so wet behind the ears. It's insane. And he had Micah Parsons in his face. There was only 2 holding penalties called the whole game. Just absolutely incredible. And check out this play. It's all great highlights. What you're going to see is just all great highlights. Musgrave's wide open. Wide open, man. What is going on? Everybody's wide open. This doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. This guy's just... Does Matt LaFleur actually have talent? Is he a talented offensive coordinator? Are we really seeing... I mean, look at that dart, guys. Look at that dart. That is incredible. That's absolutely incredible. That was a dart. That's a dime. Those passes were pretty good. We've seen great from Aaron. That was the first sign of greatness from Jordan Love that gets me excited about the future. But again, you got to do that against the 49ers. And I think that's where I'm going to end it for today. I appreciate you guys out there. I'm not saying Jordan Love is the second coming. I'm saying that I'm more convinced today than ever before. I have to admit that. That performance was incredible, even if it was against the Dallas Cowboys. Sometimes you got to beat some bad teams to gain some confidence when you play a great team. One good thing that I will say is this. I mean, if we could beat the 49ers, there's nobody left to be afraid of. I mean, the Buccaneers came into Green Bay and beat us, but, you know, Baker Mayfield having a perfect rating again, and they won't be playing the game in Green Bay. We'll be playing the game in Tampa Bay, and don't really see that. The Lions, we beat them. We split with the Lions, and, I mean, again, if you play the 49ers, that should be a no-brainer. If you could beat the 49ers, they're the second-best team in the NFL. So, I mean, the only other team left that's in your way would be the Super Bowl contending team, which would probably be the Baltimore Ravens when it's said and done. But I will say this, my prediction in the end I started the season thinking it was going to be the 49ers. I didn't see the Ravens until later. I picked like the Chiefs, but I'm going to stick with the Ravens and the 49ers in the Super Bowl. I'm a conspiracy theorist to an extent, so I believe in the logo's probably going to be exactly what we see, purple and red. But man, would I love to see the Green Bay Packers in this Super Bowl? I would. I would be super excited because these guys would have nothing to lose. But hey, thanks for watching Just Another Cheesehead podcast. I'm your host, the Lemesis. And make sure you like and subscribe if you're watching me on YouTube. And then follow me on Twitch. I greatly appreciate it. And as always, if you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, you should get to know him. You should ask him to come into your life. Just say a prayer. Ask the Lord Jesus Christ to enter into your heart and save you, because we've all sinned and come short of the glory of God. And God is good. And when it's all said and done, your salvation is the most important thing that you could ever have, right? Honestly, it saved me. He saved all of us. It's just up to you to receive. So peace, love, and hap. Catch you on the next one. Thanks for listening. God bless.